Welcome back to episode 195 of the God and Guns podcast. I'm your host, Troy.
And I'm your other host, Doug.
We use this podcast to talk about God, guns, and the responsible Christian gun owners' interest. On this week's show, we'll be discussing Doug's new Duck Guide service opening week. I hear you in the background, man.
Mute. There we go. Now you're muted. I was like, where did that come from?
All right. So we'll be talking about ducks, and all the stuff going on since we last were together here on the show. I had people saying, "Man, you need another co-host." And I had like 5 emails. No, man, it's all right. I thought Doug was going to be here with me, but he just wasn't able to do it while he's on the road. But man, you lose your seat real quick right here. There's a lot of people waiting for your chair.
I know, man. Dang.
I appreciate people willing to step up, man. I got people waiting in line, but I tell you, it's last week was a little sad. Every time I was going to go say something to you, like, Doug's not here. Roll on.
just roll it.
Rolling. All right. So we want to thank our bandwidth sponsor, Farms Radio Network. We appreciate them helping put our show out. And I guess Jake is also funding that as well as with Patriot Patch, from what I'm understanding. So we appreciate Patriot Patch and the guys. Oh, you know who's there at Patriot Patch. But we appreciate them supporting the show as well. And they send out the monthly patches, and they're just cool. And also, we have another
Crossbreed holsters. If you are carrying a gun on your person in your truck or got one next to your bed, it needs to be carried in a Crossbreed holster. The most comfortable holster in the world by far. Go check them out, crossbreedholsters.com. Carry the cross.
Carry the cross. Doug, you got a cough. It sounds like my household here. Half my family's sick, the other half are well, and we're trying to keep away from the sick people. Well, 3 of the 5 are doing well.
Like I told you, if I go silent on you for a minute and you see in the camera that I'm hacking profusely, you'll know what it is.
Your face is all red and blowing up. Snot flying across the room. We'll know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kept telling Chris, I said, don't get me sick. You got to stay away from me. I've been drinking my colloidal silver by the gallon here.
Have you?
Trying to keep it away. Because I got sore ear. I had my ear started hurting. I was at Sunday night. My ear started hurting because Krista was, wanting me to doctor and baby on her and help her to feel better. I kept saying, you're going to get me sick. And my ear started hurting and my nose started clogging up. I went there and doused some vitamin C and some colloidal silver and took a hot shower and got rid of it. And it came back last night. That wasn't Sunday night. I guess it was Wednesday. Yeah, no, it was Tuesday. This week, man, this is flying by. So whatever it was, but I've been trying to avoid the sickness. They're going around hacking, leaving their snot rags everywhere. You know how it is when people are sick.
Mm-hmm.
Walking dead, man. Like, just stay away from me. Don't kiss me. All right.
Yeah. It's like, leave me be.
Get back. Yeah, we'll see if I can keep away or not. I had to fire the heat up there, man. The bunker was cold tonight. I don't know what the deal is. I got one bit in this room. It's about 30 feet by 15 feet in my reloading room. And I plugged up an oil heater beside of me here because it was getting chilly. All right, so this week's God and Gun activities, Doug, what are you up to?
Let's see, man. God's side, I have been doing my devotionals. Even though I was on the road, I still was taking time to do those. The gun side, I've been down in Arkansas for the last 11 days. I got back Monday night late and went to work. What's today? Thursday, ain't it? So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I've been at work 3 days this week. But had a good time out in Arkansas, man. the ducks had not quite got there like we had hoped to. We shot the first 3 days. We shot a lot of local birds, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But this next push of ducks coming down, it's going to be good. They're staged up regular. Just need a little cold front. But of course, I carried the whole time I was down there, and I was at my local gun shop today, and I showed Troy a while ago, and I want to show everybody else. I finally got her.
Big bore. Well, let me lock it on you.
My Henry Big Boy 44 golden. I've always wanted a Henry rifle, and I got this one at a really good deal at my local gun shop. It saved me probably, I don't know, almost $400 difference in what a brand new one would have cost me. So I went ahead and put it on layaway several months. I actually put it on layaway several months ago, and I'd paid most of it on it. And they called me today, and they're like, "You gonna come get this 44 or what?" I was like, "Yeah, I forgot about that thing. I'll be there to get it here in a little while." So gave me an excuse to go get it, but then they tell them they were doing the paperwork, and they're like, "Hey, your concealed carry permit expires next month." I was like, "Ooh. Well, better go take care of that too." So get that knocked out all at one shot. Let's see what else. Getting ready to. Hey, I'm turning right around. We're on the split for the duck hunt, so I'm getting ready to turn around. I'll be heading back out to Arkansas again, middle of next week for another 11-day stint.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it's fun.
You must have a lot more vacation time than I ever got.
Man, I saved and saved and saved,
Yeah.
and I went up. I had quite a few hours, so I still had more. I could still go back again, but they'd probably fire me if I tried to take any more off.
You pushing it, huh?
Nah, I'm pushing it big time.
Yeah.
But what about you? What'd you do this week?
Well, I've been working on reading the Bible through in a year. I've got 30 something days left, 39 days. So I've got a few days to pick up. I think I'll make it by the end of the year. Got to attend church service both Sunday and Wednesday night. Did the cameras for the first part of Wednesday night while they were eating and all that. And then my buddy Matt came in and said, "Hey, I'll cover for you if you want to go do something else." I was like, "Yeah." So actually, two of the guys came in and offered. So it was nice. I was able to go and enjoy the youth group Wednesday night. Let's see. My mom called me up and said, "Hey, can you take your grandma and me to the old farm down in Linwood, and we want to go right around the farm. Take your truck and go right around the farm." So went over there and met them and my uncle, and this is their home farm, homestead, I guess you call it, where they grew up at. And so I was able to drive them all over this knob where they used to have a farm at. It's all covered up cattle and trees now, and got to drive around. So it was enjoyable to hang out with them and hear the stories about what all was going on. There's all these little ponds up there they dug out. My grandfather dug out years and years ago to have water on the farm. It's all kinds of wild ducks up there, up on these knobs, up on that side of that knob down there in Linwood. I was surprised to see so many wild ducks. Of course, there's nothing up there. There's no people up there, So nobody to bother them. But they didn't fly off or anything when I drove up there with the truck.
Really?
They just sit there in the pond and paddle around. There was about 3 pairs, different ponds, and some wild snow geese down here. I don't know what snow geese are doing in Kentucky.
They're starting to move over, man. They're coming through and hitting the bean fields and corn fields and stuff. They've started to realize that rice ain't for breakfast anymore. So
I didn't know they come this far east, but I saw a few snow geese up there flying into those ponds as we were leaving. So I thought that was pretty strange, but so be it. On the gun side, we had, of course, Thanksgiving here at the house. My wife had her outlaws here, and so we had dinner. And after dinner, a couple of my nephews said, "Hey, can we go shoot some guns?" They're city boys. They're from right in Louisville. You know, they don't get to shooting guns and they don't go shooting guns in there. And they're by far very liberal, Democratic type kids that they were never asked me to shoot before. I mean, they're in their 20s now, and they're but they're very left leaning. But they both wanted to go shooting, and so I said, sure. So I grabbed a shotgun and I grabbed Puff and I grabbed Glock 21 and what else I grabbed? I have my carry guns on me too. And so we went out back where I had some steel targets set up and had to teach him from scratch. Now the one boy, my one nephew, his girlfriend has just got her concealed carry license, and so she knew about guns, and so she was showing them up. She was hitting the targets, and they weren't hitting anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the shot 12 gauge. I gave them. I handed them Gunner's 12 gauge, the Benelli Supernova, the pump, so they get the full impact of that 12 gauge.
Double up
buck.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they learn guns kick.
Rock their world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, put them back on their back heel, and then when I pulled Puff out, they thought they'd went to heaven. They was like, man, they were back there holding their chest, like, man, that's a loud explosion, and big fireballs, man. 3-foot fireballs coming out into Puff. It was about dusk, man. It was just right before dark. By the time they'd asked, to go shoot guns, I gathered up enough ear protection and guns and ammo to go out there. I wish I'd known, or I'd had everything ready to go. But they shot Puff more than anything. And my father-in-law comes out. I mean, he's 77, 78, something like that, and he's got some medical conditions. He hadn't been like walking anywhere, but he saw that we were going to shoot, and he came out there and he wanted to shoot everything we shot. So he shot Puff, he shot the 12 gauge, he hit everything. He hit with everything, and he showed them kids up, man.
Good.
The first shot of the 12 gauge, he shot that 12 gauge and hit that big steel gong, and first shot. And the same thing with Puff. He was shooting and just knocking stuff over the Glock. He was hitting stuff with the Glock. He was hitting stuff with my pistol. I was like, you go, man. I bet he shot a gun. I think he came down to the farm back when we were first married, so it's been 20 plus years ago since he was here shooting. But still got the trigger finger, man. And that was a good time. That was about it. Been working on the reloading room. I got everything finally put away. I've got everything but like one shotgun reloader mounted, and I've got most of my tools where they're supposed to be. And so that was that. EDC check. What you got going on?
EDC check. I just changed clothes, but I got my Glock 19 laying here on the table next to me, and of course I got my Henry sitting here. Of course, one thing I didn't buy any bullets for today, which that's unlike me to buy a gun and not have any ammunition for it. But I figured I might look in the safe because I may have some in there. Who knows? It's highly possible. And all down in Arkansas, man, everywhere I went, I carried the Kel-Tec Sub 2000 with me. It was already always ready and accessible. So some of the guys that were in the hotel with us, they got talking about the Kel-Tec. They're talking about guns, and I said something about the Kel-Tec Sub 2000. They're like, man, I've been looking for one of those forever. He said, you got one? I like, yeah, finally.
Yeah.
And I went in the room, pulled it out, and they were just drooling all over it. I'm like, get in line, buddy. It took me like a year to get this thing.
I've not seen them in the stores very much, man. They're still as hard to find. They say they ship them all day long.
Dude, I walked into Mac Prairie Wing in Stuttgart, Arkansas, and what did they have on the bottom row of the counter in the gun case but a Kel-Tec Sub 2000 with Glock 17 mags? I was like,
there you
there you go.
Tell your buddies there, you go get you one over there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm wearing the usual suspect, the Glock 19 Gen 3 with the Suarez slide. It's got a Surefire XC1 light, and it's got a Trijicon RMR on it. And I guess you guys can see it. There it is. It's my EDC. So it's ready to roll. And I mentioned to you guys I got a holster last show. There's the custom holster. Got the Bulwarks symbol there. It's a firearms training school here in Kentucky, and it's got a cross on the other side.
Where'd you get that one at?
This is a buddy that he's one of the Bulwarks alumni, one of the guys that have taken courses at Bulwarks.
Uh-huh.
And he started making his own holsters, and it's called Sword Slingers. And he's out of Louisiana, and he's come up to the show. But that's a handcrafted leather holster. Really nice job. He was going to try to put the Guide Guns logo on there, but I picked a small pistol. I picked my Glock 30S, and it wasn't enough real estate for him to do it. So maybe another project and get the Glock, get the logo there. But I thought it was really good.
It's a nice looking holster.
Yeah, he just started out, so I thought he did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
It's comfortable. I wore it about 3 different days with my Glock 30S. I tell you what, I love the way that Glock 30S lines up. It's just like perfect alignment for me. It just, the sights are dead on. I use those Trijicon HD tritium light sights, and they just line up perfect for me, and it shoots so well. But I just wish it had more rounds in. 45's only got 10+1, but I tell you, I'm tempted to go back. If it wasn't that I like the RMR so much, I might do it. But I really have gotten used to the RMR, and I can really hit well with it. It's doing very well for me. So, all right, Comedy Corner, what you got?
Oh, Comedy Corner. I found this one. I thought this was pretty interesting since one of our buddies sent me a picture earlier. John sent me a picture. He said, "I hope they don't find one of these in your duck blind. It's a huge rattlesnake. Look like a rattlesnake. And that joker's got a head on it as big as my fist. The thing is huge." I was like, So in honor of that, it's called the snake. A Boy Scout says to his scout leader, "Sir, is this snake poisonous?" Scout leader says, "No, that snake's not poisonous at all." So the boy picks up the snake, which it bites him, and the boy starts spazzing and foaming at the mouth, and the other kids are just looking in horror. Scout leader says, "But that snake is venomous. Poison is ingested or absorbed, while venom is injected. Let's get it right next time, boys."
Sounds like some teachers I know.
I
Oh,
know.
last week I didn't have I didn't have a good joke or something, and one of the people that was on with this was throwing jokes out there.
Oh, were they?
I didn't see him till too late. You got some feedback too.
We do got feedback this week. First one comes from John Childs. He says, "Doug, in your last podcast, you had asked about what podcast engine that the listeners used. I use iTunes. Have you thought about a time when you and Troy, wait, what do you say? Have you thought about a time when you and Troy have a meetup at the duck blind? I would love to come and do that. I also had a problem snoring, but I cured it using SnoreDoc. There are others, Pure Sleep, etc. appliances. I no longer snore with that unit, and didn't have to go to the doctor. Keep up the good work." Well, yours in Christ, John. Well, actually, last night I had to wear that silly.
CPAP.
No, I ain't got a CPAP yet.
Oh, the breathing.
The sleep study
Yeah.
thing. I did a sleep study at home, so my wife went and picked it up for me yesterday. So it's got this strap that goes around your chest. It got this big box that sits right in your chest. Got lights lit up on it. It's got a finger probe. You had to keep your finger in this little probe, and I had oxygen up in my nose. And I like, man, if I got to try to sleep like this, I didn't sleep worth a dime last night.
Yeah.
And so she got it off of me this morning and turned everything off and took it back to the doctor. And they said, we'll know something about a week. So, yeah, whatever. Hopefully I won't die between now and then.
Yeah, I did the sleep study at the hospital, and it was, gosh, Daphne was 2 months old. It was like April of 1999. That's been that long ago, guys. And I went there, and before they got this, back then they put this goop in your hair and stuck these electrodes on your head, and put goop on the side of your face, and goop all over you, and stuff on your chest. I had probably 20, 30 wires hooked up to me, and laid there, and man, I was out and out with everything. And then like an hour or two later, I guess a couple hours later, the dude comes in and says, "Hey man, I'm gonna put this mask on you because you're about to die." He said, "I've never seen anything as bad." He said, "You had 333 episodes in 2 hours and something." He gave it whatever it was. He said, "That's like chronic. Like you're not like getting any rest at all." And he said, "You're probably getting about 30 minutes of sleep a night." And he put that mask on me and said, "Try to sleep with this." And man, as soon as he turned it on, I was so sound asleep. And so the sleep study, as soon as he determined that I needed the mask or the CPAP machine, it was supposed to stop, and they're supposed to send me home. And he said, "Man, you need the rest so bad. I just let you sleep." He stayed like 5 hours, let me sleep for like 6, 7 hours to get a good night's sleep. He said, "You need to leave right now and go over to the medical device store and buy one and have your insurance, reimburse you because you need one tonight." So that's what I did. I went over and they called the order over to my doctor. My doctor wrote a prescription and emailed it to the whatever it was, faxed it over or whatever to the medical device place, and I picked it up that afternoon. And the first night, I never had any trouble with the mask. I put it on. It was like a whole new world. I could dream again. My wife could not hear me snore and stagger around and fall out of bed. And I didn't have leg cramps anymore, and acid reflux and all that stuff went away. So
I told my wife when he came down to Arkansas and joined me on Thursday. She drove down on Thanksgiving Day, and so she was there, and we stayed in that hotel, and it's not the best bed in the world, but the whole time I was down there, man, my knees weren't hurting, my elbows weren't hurting, my back didn't hurt. Usually I got a knot that's like right over my shoulder blade on the one side, and it just gets huge. I got to try to rub it out. I got this, I find a door facing or whatever, I'm trying to rub that knot out of it. And the whole time I was in Arkansas, zero problems, nothing. I go back to work one day, and that knot came right back. It was like,
maybe it's your mattress.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But.
Yeah. Could be some other things, but since you got people at the hospital listening, so.
Oh, they know. I told them. I was telling them at work today. I like, man, I said my back's killing me already. But hey, it's fun though. It's fun. Oh, hey, I forgot one thing. I don't think we've had a show. I know we ain't had a show, or I haven't been on the show since I'm a new grandpa.
Oh yeah, I was telling them that you had a new grandbaby.
I do.
I didn't know all the details. I knew it just it happened. So you have to tell us all the details.
Yeah, she was born to Monday. She was 2 weeks old Monday, and her name is McKenna Grace, and it's my daughter Tara and her husband Matt. and she's just cute as she can be, and she's a good baby. She don't even cry. You know, she got a little fussy the other day because her mom was changing her clothes, and it was a little chilly outside. And she's like, "Hey, I don't like that. Put clothes back on." But other than that, she's just as cute as she can be. So that's number 3. Number 4 will be here sometime late next month or 1st of January sometime. So
okay.
So more to come on that one. That's why my son-in-law can't go duck hunt with me no more the rest of the year.
He
said, I'll get out there. Tiffy will go into labor. I said, we'll fly you home.
He's chained to the house. Huh?
He is. He's
on the porch.
Yeah, he is.
You get another feedback here.
But anyway, so we actually got another email, or I got an email from our buddy Tim. He says, Doug, he said, would you mind if I asked what kind of work you do at the hospital? I heard on a recent God and Guns episode that your hospital had a go live. And I had only heard those terms used about electronic medical records implementations like Epic or Cerna. Personally, I have been working with Epic for almost 10 years now, so just thought I would ask. Tim, he's very perceptive. It was a go live for our EMR system, and some of the hospitals down here do. I know what Epic and I know what Cerna both are, but we use our record system is called Meditech. So we went with Meditech, had an upgrade at work, and it went well. But he must work at the hospital or something too, because he knows what Epic and Cerna are. Most people wouldn't have a clue what that is. But
you're talking Greek to me.
Yeah, it's your electronic health record at the hospital is used to chart and all that kind of stuff on you when you come in.
They send all your information up to the government so they can keep track of you?
No, we don't send it up to the government, but we keep track of it. That way, if you come in and you come back next time, we can pull up and see what medicines you're already taking and that kind of good stuff. But it's pretty cool. And my job, I'm the system support manager for the hospital, so I have 10 guys, or actually 8 guys now, that work for me. We take care of all the computers and hardware and all the new equipment and stuff coming in, do all the break fix. So that's what I do to afford my duck hunting ventures.
There you go. All right. So I got one here from Jerry. He says, I've been enjoying the podcast for years via Dog Catcher. It's an Android app. Love this app. Best there is for listening to great podcast. Jerry Hayes. So we appreciate the feedback, Jerry. I'd read about, 7 or 8 last week, different ones that I never heard. I never heard Dog Catcher before.
I haven't either.
Yeah, all kinds of different podcast apps out there and ways they're listening to. So, there's no way for us to track every download because it's so many of them just feed off of, off the original link or whatever. And so I don't know how to keep track of, how many listeners we actually have. I know how many is over on YouTube, on iTunes from time to time, but it takes a while to dig down the data there. But as far as how many total listeners we got, I don't know. It's just so many of them feed off of different places, and other ones feed off of the other feeds. I don't know how it tracks all that stuff, but oh well. We're glad to have you all out there. So Bible verse this week, I'm going to be talking about prayer. And we had one of our listeners, he was on the same track as me. I was thinking about verses on prayer and talking about prayer. And it's a critical part of being a believer, is making sure that we have a good prayer life. And I wanted to discuss that. And he'd said, hey, can you do something on prayer? And I was like, I've already got it. That's what I've been working on. So we're going to have 2 sets of verses here. First one, of course, is the Lord's Prayer. And it comes to us out of Luke 11, 1 through 13. Excuse me. Now Jesus was praying in a certain place, and when he finished, one of the disciples said to him, Lord, teach us to pray as John taught his disciples. And when he said to them, when you pray, say, Father, hallowed be thy name, be your name. Your kingdom come. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive everyone who is indebted to us, and lead us not into temptation. And he went on to say to them, which of you has a friend and will go to him midnight and say to him, a friend, lend me 3 loaves, and for the friend of mine has arrived on a journey and have nothing set before him, and he will answer from within, do not bother me, the door is not shut, my children in bed are with me in bed, and I cannot get up to give you anything. And I tell you, though he will not get up and give you anything because he is his friend, yet because of his impudence, he will rise and give him whatever he needs. Continually asking. I tell you, if I could read tonight, it would be great. I tell you, it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks it will be open. What father among you, if his son asks for a fish, will instead give him a serpent? And if he asks for an egg, will you give him a scorpion? If you then, who are evil, know how to give good things to your children, how much more will the Heavenly Father give the Holy Spirit to those who ask him? And so in the first part of this, the verses here, Jesus's example prayer going from like verse 2 to verse 4 gives us the format for which we should pray. We first want to recognize the holiness of God, right? We want to recognize his authority. We want to recognize his position in relationship to us. He is holy. He is everlasting. He is awesome. He is creator God, right? All the attributes of God. We want to recognize who God is when we come to him in prayer. And the second part of that is that we are going to ask for the things that we need for that day. So our prayers aren't for, I want to have $1 million in 10 years or something like that, right? We're praying for the things that we have need of for today. And then we're asking for forgiveness for sin. So, repentance is part of prayer. We're going to ask for God to forgive us for sins. And at the same time, we're supposed to forgive those that have caused us harm, or those that have caused us grief. Ask for forgiveness for your own sins, but also forgive those, because we can't be forgiven unless we forgive others, right? So when someone offends you, when someone does something that upsets you, it doesn't mean you have to like it, but you have to forgive them, because we were bought for a price. We were, when we were believers, we were bought for a price. Christ paid the price for our souls, right? And so that price is giving him our attacks, our slights, all those things that upset us. We don't have the right to those anymore. We sign those over to Jesus, and Jesus gets to take care of those. And when we have burdens and problems and we've been mistreated, we turn those over to God, give those over to Jesus, let go of them, and forget them like they never happened. And Jesus will take care of that. He will repay whenever someone does something wrong to you. It's not your responsibility. Hand it over, let go of it. Don't let your anger, get you in trouble, and forgive so you can be forgiven. And then the last part says, lead us not into temptation. So it's not saying that God is going to lead you into temptation. That's a misunderstanding. It's asking God to help us recognize, right? To recognize those things will cause us to stray. Those things that cause us to go and do something we're not supposed to do. And what are those things we're not supposed to do? We're not supposed to dishonor God, right? We're not supposed to lead others astray. We're not supposed to do anything that causes an offense. We're not just supposed to, sin. I mean, it's all through the Bible. I mean, of course, the 10 Commandments, but there's all through the Bible explaining what God expects of us. And I'm not going to go into all that tonight. So Jesus goes on to tell them, after he gives them the example prayer, that, God knows your heart. He knows what you need. And sometimes, you ask for some things and he may not give it to you. He loves you, but he may not give it to you. But because if you keep asking, he's going to give it to you eventually. That's what he says here. And he's going to give you what is best. He's not going to give you something bad. You know, he goes on and gives examples. You know, Jesus is always teaching through parables here that, you know how to give good things to your children. And so God knows how to give good things to you. You may ask for something and he may give you something better, or he's always going to probably give you something better, or something that you need, not necessarily something that you desire, but it will be for his glory and for your benefit, whatever it is he gives. The second part of the prayer verses that I want to go into is the prayer of faith. We're reading that of James 5:13 through 19, the ESV. Well, before I jump over there, Doug, do you have anything you want to say about?
Yeah, I was going to piggyback on what you were saying about praying for stuff. God answers every prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he just says no. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to teach my Awana kids, you know, just because you pray for it and you want it, you know, doesn't mean you're going to get it. You know, you can ask your mom and dad. I tell them, you know, ask your mom and dad, you know, why won't they give you a gallon of ice cream right before you go to bed? Well, because they know you're going to get sick and you don't need it. Mm-hmm. So that they say no, but you can ask all you want to. But, you know, God has a plan for us. He knows what we need, what we don't need, and he's going to tell us yay or nay.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of things I've asked for that I was glad that God didn't give me.
Yes. Me too, brother.
I asked for a lot of things that I didn't realize, you know, what was behind that fence. So God knew better than I did what I needed and what I should be focused on. My microphone is moving on me, or I'm moving on my microphone one here. I'm always fighting this thing. So the second verses are going to be coming out of James 5 verses 13 through 19. And he's saying here, is anyone among you suffering? Let him pray. Is anyone cheerful? Let him sing praise. You know, it's very important. I'm stepping out of the verses here for a second. This first part here, if you're suffering, you know, first thing you need to do is pray. You don't need to go to someone and start complaining. You go to God, you ask for him to help you be healed or help with the suffering. And if anyone's cheerful, let him sing praise to God. There are so many believers I see these days who have lots to be cheerful about, lots to sing praise about, but they don't give God the glory and the honor in that. And I find myself that, you know, from time to time, I'll find myself not giving God the glory and the honor that I should, and I have to repent for that. But guys, if you're doing well and you're succeeding and you're being blessed, give God praise for that and give God public praise for that. And you know, if you're stealing God's glory, it's not a good place to be in, because God knows how to pull that in really quick. So make sure that you're praising God when you're being blessed, and praise him for everything you're blessed with, your children, and you know, just the things that you have, and be grateful for that, because God will continue to bless that if you recognize that it comes from God. All good things come from God. Is anyone among you sick? Let him call for elders. I'm sorry, starting here in verse 14. Is anyone among you sick? Let him call for the elders of the church and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer of faith will save the one who is sick, and the Lord will raise him up. And if he has committed sins, he will be forgiven. Therefore, confess your sins to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person has great power as it is working. Elijah was a man with a nature like ours, and he prayed fervently that it might not rain. And for 3 years and 6 months it did not rain on the earth. Then he prayed again that the heavens might give rain, and the earth bore its fruit. My brothers, if anyone among you wanders from the truth, and someone brings him back, let him know that whoever brings back a sinner from wandering will save his soul from death and will cover a multitude of sins. Again, that's James 5:13 through 19. So prayer is simply talking to God. It's base root is you're talking to God. And you're going to first recognize God's authority over your life. You're recognizing his position. You're recognizing his righteousness, his holiness. Second of all, you're coming to him and you're confessing sin. You want to get that sin out of the way, and so God will hear your prayer so you can become righteous. The way you become righteous is confessing sin, getting it out of your life, working those things out of your life. Because if you want to have a powerful prayer life, you need to be a righteous person, as it says here in these verses we just read. So the way you become a righteous person is you walk with God. And the way you walk with God is you know his word. So you're reading the word, you're praying, you're recognizing your sin, you're confessing sin, and you're always growing, towards God. You're always got your face towards God. You're not returning and turning away from God. You're not giving your own advice whenever a brother or sister asks advice for you. You're giving biblical advice and you're praying with them, right? So we're not going on our own authority. We're not going on our own knowledge, because our own knowledge is worthless, just like our own deeds are worthless. Only the things that God does and does through us are of value. So prayer is, again, recognizing who God is, recognizing the sin in your life that you need to confess and get out of your way, recognizing that, if you have a need, you ask for that need to be taken care of, forgiving those that have offended you so that you're not distracted by that you're not holding that grudge. So God says he can't forgive you if you won't forgive someone else. So confessing those the grudges and things that you have and getting that out. And then, just a thanksgiving. You want to thank God for all the blessings he gives you. Recognize that. And that's the basic tenets of prayer. They're very basic. I mean, I can't, but there are people who can teach for 3 months on prayer. But at the base, that's what it is. And you just need to do it. You just need to recognize it. And a lot of people don't, because they don't want to be confronted by their sin. Because when you speak with God, when you pray, God will bring in remembrance those things that you've done that you need to get confessed out. And that's why a lot of people will ignore it. People will get turn the music up, or they won't read the Bible, or they'll distract themselves with TV. Get along with God and let him work on you and get you straightened up, get you confessing that sin, getting your heart cleaned up so you're ready to continue to grow in knowledge and in faith. And you do that through reading the scriptures and praying and confessing sin and, becoming more like Jesus each and every day. All right, Doug, you want to comment on those verses?
I've always liked those verses. Several times in the church, we've had people come up and ask for the elders in the church to pray for them and anoint them with oil. And I've done that several times. The Bible says God will take care of it if you do these things. So I do like those verses. So.
Yeah. And everything you guys want to know about what we need to do as a Christian, it's in the Bible. Open up, you get you a study Bible, it'll tell you exactly where you need to go to on different topics. So, but I appreciate those of you who have reached out and suggested topics. But I remember when I started really growing and getting deep in the Word with God was when we moved to Glasgow. And I started going outside instead of, when we turned off the cable TV, it was like 2009, we turned off cable TV. So we quit watching television. Kids could play their games or whatever and stuff if they didn't have schoolwork. But there was no cable. And at first there was no Netflix or anything like that. And so I would go outside and sit outside and I'd spend that time praying. And that's when my prayer life really shot off. I mean, I'd been a believer for 2009, since I was 6. I don't even know how many years that was. 40 years. But I mean, I really started going deeper because I was isolating myself away from the distractions. TV was turned off, radios were turned off. I was outside in communion with God, in nature. That's when I started really growing as a believer. That's when God started really getting these hooks in me that he could get my attention because I was focused on Him. I wasn't focused on myself. I wasn't focused on other things around me. And He was able to get my ear and brought up verses. And I would start looking up the verses, and started, and I don't know how to describe it. It's just, He just started building me, getting me ready for something. And then all these things start falling in place over the last 7 years. It's been a whirlwind to where we are now. But talk to God. He will definitely listen, and He will definitely talk back if you listen.
That's right.
All right. So, main topic is you, Doug. You got to tell us about this duck hunting, what all happened, and what all did you learn, and what all things you going to do differently, and all that stuff.
The most valuable lesson I learned the entire time I was down there is you do not give Mountain Dew in the morning to a 9-year-old kid with ADHD. Oh my goodness! We hunted the first 3 days. It was my buddies were all in town, so we hunted first, and we shot a bunch of local birds, and we had a good time. It was fun, and then the guide stuff started, and we hunted for 2 days before Thanksgiving. Had some good guys out of Warner Robins came down there, and they had a few things that they want to do. One of them had never killed a duck. Yeah. He just wanted to kill a duck. He said, "If I kill a duck, I'll be happy." And he wound up killing 3.
All right.
And then one of the guys wanted to kill. One of his sons wanted to kill a mallard, and he got a big, pretty mallard. Had a triple curly tail on the back, and he was tickled plumb to death. And they brought their 14-month-old yellow lab that they just got back from going to school, and he had never retrieved a duck. And they dropped a duck right out in front of him, and they sent him. That joker shot out of that box, went out there and picked that duck up, brought it back, just like he knew what he was doing all of his life,
Good.
And we got it all on video for them, so they were happy until the second day.
Oh,
one of his boys, and he's like us. He's a pretty good sized fella, except he's taller than us. Same build. He decided he wasn't going to wear waders because we got a boat. They get in the boat. We take them out to the blind. They step out of the boat into the blind. They don't got to get wet. We get back in the boat, take them back. And so it was 28 degrees, something like that, first thing in the morning. And I got all their stuff, put it in the boat, and they're getting in the boat. And his son got ready to step in the boat, and he's 20. He's in his 20s. Well, he stepped out on the boat, and when he did, the boat kind of pushed away from the bank.
Oh.
So instead of coming on in the boat, excuse me, instead of coming on in the boat, he tries to make that quick turn to go back to the bank. And that was a mistake. And he missed the bank. And in the water he went.
Oh.
If he'd have landed a foot to his right, he would have been not even knee deep in the water, and he could have stood up. But he unfortunately landed about a foot to the left, which is where they took the backhoe and dug the trench out where we take our boat run back and forth to the duck blind. So it's about chest deep, and man, he hit the water. I felt so bad. He's trying to get back up, and they picked at his brother because his brother's standing on the deck of the boat. He's like, "Come on, man, you go get up or what?" he ain't really helping him, and we were adding fuel to the fire. We're like, I think I actually saw him with a camera with his cell phone in his hand when you was in the water, man. That's why he couldn't stick his hand out to help you out. But he was a trooper, man. He stuck it out. He stayed in that duck blind until a little after 10 that morning, and I know he was cold. We were on the way, but his dad's like, "Man, you want to go back to the truck? You want to go back to the truck?" He's like, "No, I'm good. We're on the boat ride back to the truck. He goes, "I can't feel my legs or my feet."
Oh.
And I was like, oh man. I said, well, I got a pocket knife up here if we need to take your toes off or anything. He's like, oh, I'll be all right. He said, it ain't that cold. And by then it got up in the 40s.
Yeah.
And but he was a trooper. He did real good. And then the last 3 days, I had a good group of folks in the blind with me, and then the young man with ADHD that was 9. And dude, I'm telling you, he's a he was a character. Huh?
My oldest has got that, and he was all. His grandparents was always sneaking him Red Bulls and all that garbage, and he was hiring a kite all the time. That junk.
The first 2 days they killed a duck. Both days, a duck, and I'd have ducks coming in, and I watch them. They cup up, they be gliding coming in. All of a sudden, I see them, and they're gone.
His ADD boy.
Yeah. I'm like, I said, did you see them ducks come in? Oh, yes, Miss Doug. I saw them. I was pointing them out to my daddy. I'm like, stop pointing. So the very last day, I finally got him convinced enough to sit down and let me call. And when the ducks came in, I said, I promise you, I will tell you when to shoot. You're not going to miss nothing. You're going to get to shoot. And they actually sat down, and everybody kind of sat down. Some of them were newer at hunting than the others were. So when I say get down, they kind of just go. I'm like, get down in the blind, get out of the windows. And the first thing in the morning, he was a little lethargic first thing in the morning, but you get a couple Mountain Dews in you right off the get go, and a moon pie, you recuperate pretty quick. I'm gonna go and tell you. So he's bouncing off the walls and everything else. He finally sat down, and I'm like, all right, everybody get down, don't talk. I said, got a big bunch of ducks coming in. And I looked up, and there was probably 20 or 25 ducks come over the top of us. I'm like, please don't move. Don't move. I'm calling to them. Me and my son-in-law's calling them. Jokers turn. They come around. They come back around the front of the blind, and they come over the top of us again. I'm like, they're gonna see him. They're gonna see him. But I don't know. God had his hand on it, I guess. And he stayed sitting down. They went over and they made another little swing. And the next time they come around, man, them 25 ducks dropped in the hole just as pretty as you please. I hollered, I'm like, kill them. Everybody comes up, bang, 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 bang. They're just unloading their guns. Not a duck.
Oh, gosh.
Never cut a feather. I was like, all right.
Practice on top of that, huh?
Yeah. When you see that big of a group of ducks coming in, the first thing people do is shoot at the flock. They just start shooting. I call it spraying and praying. Yeah. And they're just hoping they hit something. And you don't. You will not hit them.
If you duck load. I mean, you're going to be a tight pattern there.
Oh, yeah. I told him, I said, pick a duck, kill that duck, move to the next duck. I said, it'll take them a second to get out of the hole. Mm-hmm. You got a semi-automatic shotgun. You're shooting a whole lot faster than they can backpedal to get out of that hole when you start shooting.
Yeah.
So what a few minutes later, this big old greenhead mallard comes in. He just drops out of nowhere and just come in the hole. And I'm like, kill him. And they got him. And then they killed a couple other ducks.
5 guns, 1 duck ahead, baby.
5, yeah, exactly. And then I had one. He almost landed on me. And the guy that was in the first spot, he's a friend of mine, and he had his grandson out there who was 14, who did a great job. Yeah. He just got his hunter safety card. He stayed down. I painted the boys' faces in the morning first thing. Got them blacked out and put your camo on them and stuff. And Dave's like, he said after the first 2 days, he said I wasn't even sure if I was going to come back because he's coming back again with his son next week after next actually. He said I wasn't even sure if I was going to come back. He said, but Sunday I understood what you was talking about getting down because they could see you. He said it is just amazing watching you call those ducks and them ducks respond to you and come to you. make a couple circles around and make sure everything's okay, and you're just sitting there just chattering, talking to them constantly, and have them jokers dropping a hole. He said, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. He said, I'll be back. I was like, yes, converted another one.
Got one more hooked, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You guys are spreading it like a disease, man.
Oh, it is. Of course I had my brother out there with me.
Oh yeah.
The first 4 days.
Claude Grover was there. Huh?
He was, which anytime my brother's around, it's an entertaining thing anyway. But,
you gave his gray beard back, or?
No, he didn't have his beard. They, he worked for the state police up here in Kentucky now as a dispatch, so they won't let him have it. Which he could grow one in about 4 hours.
I know,
and have a good one.
He looked like Santa Claus, man.
I used to tell him all the time when we was kids. I thought his mom and dad was really Bigfoot because he could grow one quick, man. He walked out the first year. When he had that big Santa Claus beard, it was all white, and he's younger than me too, by the way. Mm-hmm. So he had met us at my buddy's house to ride with us, and he come walking out. I didn't even recognize my own brother. He walked out, had that big old white beard. I'm like, and then he said something to me. I'm like, John, and he's like, who you think it is? I'm like, oh, it looks like Santa Claus. I tell him, I said, man, you got to paint that before you get into the duck blind because they gonna see you.
Skunk ape.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I hope he's he's not listening because he's working tonight, but I hope he goes back and listens later. But he intentionally will not wear waders. So we have to drop him out. He gets in the blind, and then he gets back in the boat and goes back. So he don't have to get
been a princess, you know that.
Well, I know he's a prima donna, but he don't want to get out of the blind. He got his boot. He got his wader knee-high boots on. He's like, you got to put me out someplace dry. I'm like, I'll put you out someplace dry. So we're one day we're out moving decoys. And he's got his head poked up through the blind. He's like, hey, y'all might want to move them over that way a little bit. And grab those over there and move those back.
I can see it.
Yeah, if we shoot a duck, more than one duck on the water at a time, I'll send my dog go get it. And one of us will be walking to go pick up another one while she's getting the farthest one out. And, I can control her pretty good with hand signals and stuff. And she understands over. If I go over, she knows to go that way. If she looks at me, I can tell her go over and she'll go back, or I can just do back and she'll go back and she'll go dead away from me. Well, John waits until we get out there to go pick up the other duck. He'll be like, duck. And I'll turn around and look at him. He's like, back. I'm like, uh-huh.
That's John.
Never a dull moment with my brother around.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a good time. Wendy showed up on Thanksgiving Day, and we had went to the store and bought steaks for Thanksgiving. We had big old nice ribeyes and baked potatoes and stuff. We grilled them on the back of my truck on the tailgate on a little propane grill.
Yeah,
and that was probably one of the best steaks I'd had in forever, man. That thing was good. I don't know, it just you're out there and it's peaceful, it's quiet. I don't know. I didn't want to come home the other day when I had to come back.
I didn't think he's going to. I was like, when are you coming back, dude?
I know.
You guys are playing on stand.
I know. I got 2 more trips. I'm leaving this next one. I won't be back until the 18th, and then I leave 2 days after Christmas, and I won't be back until like the 8th of January. So
wow.
Yeah. So I should get my fill of duck hunting. Well, I won't get my fill of duck hunting because they only give you 70 days, man. You got to do what you can do.
Yeah. That I remember when Gunner and I we was up in Montana, and we stopped at a butcher shop and picked up a couple big old steaks. Went in the grocery store and got a bunch of onions and mushrooms and got some potatoes, and we cooked on that little camper and my truck camper. And I had a couple iron skillets, so I skillet fried those steaks. And man, I tell you, it was the best steak I've ever had in my life.
Dude, the only thing I put on them steaks the other day was salt and pepper, and we had guys that were there that we were guiding, staying in the hotel with us, and they went to the store and got them a couple steaks. They're like, "If we get a couple steaks, you mind grilling us one?" I was like, "Bring them." I said, "No problem."
Yeah.
So we was cooking and just having a good time, sitting out there and talking about duck hunting. And the little boy with ADHD. Another tip: don't buy him a duck call. Man, he blew that joker like a kazoo from daylight until about 5 hours after dark every night.
He can a buck, man.
It was, oh my goodness, it was so funny.
You need to write down some notes and compile you a book after your first year.
There I was.
My first year of guide service. These are the things I
the guy that I leased the blind from, he messaged me on Sunday afternoon after we got done hunting and stuff. He said, "Well," he said, "so what'd you think, man?" He said, "You think you're going to enjoy it?" He's a guide. You know, they actually have the oldest guide service in the state of Arkansas, 3 generations.
Huh.
And so they've been around a long time. And I tell you what, I was like, dude, I said, I'm tired. I'm wore out because we've been going nonstop. And I said, I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. It's been the best week, forever.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't wait to get back in here to do it all over again.
Awesome.
And so you've heard me talk. You know my buddy Sean.
Yeah.
So we're in the duck blind on our buddy hunt. I'm working these ducks. They come around. Now my son-in-law Alex is on the far end of the blind. Well, he had borrowed my buddy Rick's shotgun. He's got a Winchester SX3 semi-automatic, nice gun, and he was thinking about buying it from me, so he wanted to shoot it. Well, Alex he's right-handed, but he shoots left-handed, so he's got a right-handed gun. So I call in these ducks, man. There's, I don't know, 15, 20 of them in this flock. They come in, and I'm standing in the water next to the dog box with the dog underneath a cypress tree. These ducks come flying in, and they just drop in the hole just as pretty. I'm like, cut them. I reached over and grabbed my shotgun, which I'm usually the last one to get to shoot. Well, unless you listen to my brother, you can't listen to him. But I grabbed the shotgun, and I raised up, and I shot. I killed one duck. I went to the next duck. I shot and killed him. And I only heard one other shot shoot with me. I look up. Sean's up there. He's got his gun. He's shaking it. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? I said, nobody's shooting. He had tore his Benelli up. He had a Benelli Super Black Eagle 2 that he bought a couple years ago that he wound up having to send back to Benelli last year because it wouldn't shoot.
Huh.
He pulled the trigger. It would not go off. So they replaced the internal springs and all kind of stuff in it and in the firing mechanism. Sent it back. First day he shot fine. Second day he shot fine. The third day he raised up on them ducks. Nothing. It wouldn't even click. And my son-in-law Alex on the other end is shooting that gun. He can get one shot off, and his gun wouldn't shoot. He couldn't figure it out. Well, the safety on that Winchester, you push it in from the right side. Well, it sticks a pretty good ways out on the left side. So when he was shooting left-handed, he pulled the trigger the first time and he was pushing the safety back on, so it wouldn't shoot no more. I was like, well, if you just shoot right-handed or get you a left-handed gun, yeah, you'd be all right. But so Sean, he was mad. So as soon as we got out of the duck hole, we headed straight to Mac Prairie Wing, and he bought a new Super Black Eagle 3.
Oh,
yeah.
He traded that one in. He just bought him straight up.
He was going to trade it in, and he bought that gun at Academy 2 years ago, and got a good deal. It's like $1,000 gun. He got it for $1,000 for a Super Black Eagle 2.
Yeah,
and he's going to trade it in. The guy's like, I can't give you about $500 for it. I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm like, what?
For a Benelli?
I said, that's a Benelli. It's a Super Black Eagle 2. He goes, yeah, but it's an American edition. I was like, American? I was like, what's American edition? He said, well, if you notice the stock on it doesn't have the recoil system built into it. And looking at it, I never noticed it.
Oh, it didn't have the inertia system? Or
it's got the inertia system, but it doesn't have the shock pads and stuff built into the stock.
Uh-huh.
And there's other things that it does not have that the higher price gun has. He said, so he said, basically this is the cheaper version of the Super Black Eagle 2. he's like,
You gotta take a shot of something.
ooh, sorry.
Well, Doug clears his throat out. Well,
yeah. So he's like, well, he said, I'm just gonna buy a Super Black Eagle 3. He said, I'll send the other one off, get it fixed, and use it for a backup gun. I'm like, yeah, that's a backup gun you want. If your other one messes up, you know you got one that we ain't gonna shoot then. But we had a good time. We got ready to pull the boat out of the ditch, out of the run. I don't know if I told you last time I was down there. We were down there a few weeks before, brushing the blind and stuff in. We got ready to pull the boat out with the guy Justin's 4-wheeler, and I pulled the trailer out fine with it. Well, we put the boat on it, went to pull it out. It would not come out. So we had to wind up waiting for Justin to come down there with his truck so he could winch us out, and he got us. So I don't know if I've talked to you since. I don't know if we did a show since then or not. Anyway, me and my son-in-law drove to Hazelhurst, Georgia, right before I left to go duck hunting, and I bought a Polaris side-by-side 700 EFI.
I saw pictures of it. I think it.
Well, it snatched that boat straight out of the water, no problem. Once you put it in 4 low.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got that Polaris 6x6. Man, I love that thing. It'll go anywhere. It's like a goat. It'll go straight up the side of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Carry 800 pounds of junk in the back of it. It's got a big bed in the back of it.
It
was.
I got a lot of stuff worked on and done right before I left. I put the lift kit on my truck, and I put a 3.5-inch suspension lift on it, rough country lift, and 33 Toyo open country MT mud tires on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't get stuck nowhere in Arkansas this trip. Of course, it wasn't real muddy either, but I did get in some mud. And shoot, man, that Chevrolet just drove right through it like it wasn't nothing. Just press on.
Yep. I was climbing up beside that knob with my Toyos, and they're about done. I think I've got probably about another 500 miles. And I was crabbing across the top of this ridge. I was turning up the ridge, and I was going, I was aiming probably about 15, 20 degrees uphill from where I was actually traveling, crawling along. I was like, it's time for some tires. Of course, it's a pretty steep grade. It's probably at least 30, 40% grade up beside that knob. Some of those places they wanted to get up in there too. They said, let's go through that trailer. I'm like, this is a 35, a 350. It's not going to go up that trail. The trees are too low. The fences are too close. I'm not running through there. We have to get a 4-wheeler and come back. Like,
yeah.
I'm not
going out to Arkansas the other day, with the big tires and the lift, and I bought a new trailer to pull the 4-wheeler or pull the side-by-side on, and I got a tandem axle, 6.5 foot by 12 foot. And I got a big whopping 9 and 10 miles to a gallon going to Arkansas. I was like, goodness.
You need your diesel, dude.
I almost bought one.
Did you?
I was working on it, and I was working with the guy that I got the deal from on my truck, and he's putting the deal together for me. He comes back and says, he said, well, we can't give you but $29,000 for your truck. I'm like, what? I'm like, my truck's a year old, man. He said, yeah, it's that Carfax on it. I said, Carfax? I said, he ain't got no Carfax. I said, there's nothing wrong with my truck. And then it hit me. I was like, that girl rear-ended me, and I had to have it put in the shop, get a new tailgate put on it.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I did too. Because he asked me, when he first asked me, he says, is there anything wrong with your truck? I'm like, no, man, it's pretty. And I forgot all about it. I was like,
Yeah.
Well, that's going to let that. I'm not paying $80,000 for a truck. So I just get crappy gas mileage and press on with what I got.
I buy used. I don't buy any new ones. I let somebody else take that hit on depreciation there.
Yeah.
Backside.
This is the first new truck I've had in a long time. I usually do the same thing too, but Yeah, I knew I was going to be going to Arkansas and all that stuff, so I wanted something that had some warranty on it. That way, if I get stuck out in podunk nowhere,
Yeah.
I can have it towed to a garage, have it fixed, and be back on the road and go. Not have to worry about it. But everything worked out. Knock on wood. Everything worked out good so far, and we had a good first split. A lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. I gave a bunch of duck call lessons to kids and
Yeah.
some adults, wanting to learn how to blow a duck call.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to come out there and get that fever or not.
Oh, it's sickening when you get it, man. It's bad.
All right. Well, we want to thank. We're gonna go ahead and jump over here and thank our sponsors. First of all, I want to thank our Patreon supporters. We've got the request of several of our listeners. They said, "Hey, set a Patreon account. We'll help sponsor the show," and so we did, and you guys did. And so our top three, I got tied for third there. It's Tim Kim, John Odlin, Doug Schultz, Steve Stone, Shannon Copeland. Oh, there's three of them tied for three of them tied for third. Other ways you can help out our show is join the NRA. If you use our link, it saves you $10 annual membership, and they send us some love. DeVore is the clearinghouse for Optics Planet, and so they've got all kinds of cool deals over there. I'm always picking up shirts and pants and scopes and all kinds of cool hunting and shooting equipment, and they just got a little bit of everything. If you haven't checked it out, use our link, and we'll get a little bit of love if you purchase something. Laser Activated Shot Reporter, use the coupon code GANDG, you get 10% discount, and it's a program that uses your webcam, and you can set up targets inside your house that are what do you call it? Virtual targets, not real targets, and you can shoot them with your SIRT pistol. I've got one here underneath this other gun. Use a SIRT pistol with a laser, and it's good for dry firing, pulling from concealment. Practicing all those things that you don't want to shoot yourself when you're just learning how to draw. And so you can they've got SIRT pistols and M&P compacts, M&P. Smith & Wesson MP full size. They've got the Glock 19 size, Glock 17 size, and lots of different ones. They got a bolt. You can put an AR-15. You can practice with that. So if you don't know what it is, go to lasrapp.com and you can find out more about it. Hoplite Armor. We're a Hoplite Armor affiliate. Use our link, and we will get some love from Hoplite. And Zija. We've had a ton of people asking for samples, and I've sent out bunch of samples. I've got some more to send out. I was supposed to send today, and I forgot to get it out before the mail picked up, so they'll be going out tomorrow. If you want to know more about Zija, you can go to godandguns.myzija.com. I use it every day to keep me going. Been back in the gym now for 3.5 weeks, and I have almost quadrupled my original starting weight on most of the exercises, lifting hard, doing the starting strength program. You guys that know Paul and Jared Markle, that's the system they're doing. I don't have a coach. I've read the book and I watched all their videos because I'm on the cheap right now because I'm trying to raise money for missions. So I've eliminated everything that I can to try to get as much money set aside for our mission goal for the church this year is $100,000. That's a big stretch from where we were last year. And so they're asking all of us to give all we can give. And so I've got some guns I'm going to be putting up on Craigslist, put them on Gunbroker, and I will put links on our YouTube. I'll put links on our Facebook pages, and I'll mention them here on our episode when I start selling those, to try to raise funds for the mission focus for our church.
Hey, let me know what you got now.
You got bid with everybody else, man. All right, you got the other two, and then we'll be on to the NRA armed citizen.
Crossbreed holsters, like I said earlier, if you're carrying a gun, you should be carrying in a crossbreed. Troy and I both carry in the Super Tuck Deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
They are the most comfortable holsters you will ever carry. I wore mine all the way to Arkansas and back. It doesn't rub, it doesn't get hot, it doesn't bother you. It's just comfortable and they work. So go check these guys out. They got all kind of different guns or holsters for any kind of gun that you want.
This one right here is really handy. This is why I carry my Glock 26 in. It's part of their modular system.
Is that the Velcro piece on the back?
Velcro piece on the back. And so it'll attach to like my tactical vest. It'll attach to the pockets there, attaches to the expedition bags I've got to drop in there. It attaches to my bag I can take to the gym with me. So I just take that gun, put it in the holster, stick it inside my gym bag, and have it right there with me. So even though I'm wearing stretchy clothes and stuff that won't hold the holster up, I've got it right there in the bag, right there on the floor with my water bottle and all that. So it's a really good system, modular system. Check it out if you haven't checked it out before. Go ahead.
Anyway, if you're looking for a holster, go check these guys out. Crossbreedholsters.com. Carry the cross, they can hook you up. Also, last but not least, Axelson Tactical. Our buddies over at Jeff Axelson and his family are making precision rifles, pistols, knives, and a bunch of other different things that they're into now. Just a great gun. Troy has one. I have one. And they work. They are tack drivers. Yes. So if you're looking for a good, solid AR, go check these guys out at AxelsonTactical.com. Use our promo code God and Guns, and Jeff will give you a 10% discount when you check out on Troy and me.
That's awesome. We're also an Antirius Alliance member, so if you would like to support veterans, it's a veteran and patriot organization of guys that have sort of come together as a co-op to be able to help market each other's materials, market each other's products. And so if you would like to know more about Antirius Alliance, we are one of their media people. And so us and Talking Lead and, of course, Birdman are the three podcasts that they have let in. And we're a lifetime member. And so check out their products over there. Great companies, more than I can keep up with. All the time I add new companies that are vetted by the board before they bring them on. So check out Antirius Alliance. All right, NREM says, are you okay to read that, or is your voice gone? I need to read it.
Let me know. Go ahead. You can do it tonight.
Okay. So this one's coming to us, Detroit. Police say deputy fatally shot intruder at her Detroit home. Detroit AP police say an off-duty sheriff's deputy shot and killed a man who had broken into her home in southwest Detroit. Scrolling. The Wayne County deputy was inside the home when she heard a door being kicked in about 1:30 a.m. Saturday. The deputies told the investigators she grabbed her weapon and fired shots at the intruder, who was armed with a pistol wearing a black ski mask. The man was struck in the chest and pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities didn't immediately release the name of the deputy or the man who died. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office said the deputy will be assigned to administrative duties pending the outcome of internal investigation. So there you go. You have a gun and you're able to stop someone intruding on your home. If you can hit them.
Center mass.
Yep. It'll work. If you do your job, it'll get done.
Good for her.
Yep. It's sad. It's sad another person has to learn the hard way. But the world we live in.
Sad but true, man.
Yep. So what else was it? I was going to talk about something else. Oh, I was going to talk about the gym. I've been lifting, and I tell you, it's been like years since I've lifted, since I blew up my neck. I was really not looking forward to it, but I've been using the Zija to keep down the inflammation, and I've been following the guidelines and the tenets and the form that the Starting Strength program recommends. And I have not had any injuries. I've been really sore, and I found out I wasn't supposed to be deadlifting like 5 sets. About the third week I was into it, I should have a light day and a heavy day. So I was like, oh, I missed that when I was reading it. But I've had to learn the hard way. But I've lost 5 pounds, And I was like, man, I will lose more weight. But I noticed that my belt is 7 notches smaller than it was when I started. So my waist is getting smaller, and I'm picking up muscle somewhere. So,
Good deal.
but feeling better. I noticed that I'd gotten to where I was starting to stumble. Oh gosh, I got cramp in my leg. Right when I'm talking about this. Didn't drink enough water. So I'm trying to drink enough water. Um, but I noticed that I got to where I was stumbling a little bit, and my footing wasn't as good, and my balance wasn't as good, and it was starting to bother me because my dad has leg issues because sitting at a desk job for 40 years, 50 years. And it's just taking its toll on his legs. And I'd done it for like 30 years before I retired. And I noticed I was still doing it. And I could walk. I was strong, go up steps, didn't have any problems, and can walk long distances. It had never been a problem, but I noticed I was staggering. Well, since I started doing these squats and deadlifts, I don't miss a beat, and I can get up and down, and it's a whole lot better, a whole lot better than what it used to be already. And I've been getting my heart rate up in the high for me, which is probably the max I need to be going at. I had up in the 160s the other day for like 20 minutes, which is probably a little too high. And so I dialed it back down, trying to keep it in the 140s. But I could get on the treadmill, and I wasn't. I was dead on straight. My back has stayed in pretty good shape, and my hips have stayed in shape. So if you guys are looking for an exercise program, I really am enjoying this so far. I don't know how far I can go with the weightlifting. I don't want to blow my neck out again, so I'm not going to go as high as I used to. But I've increased on most exercises. I would go up 25 pounds a week. 25 pounds a workout. Increase it 25 pounds a workout until mid last week. I hit a plateau. I couldn't put something up for 5 reps. I could put it for 4, and I was struggling trying to get the 5th and couldn't get it. And so that's the first time I had to stop. And so I've started going up at 5 pounds increments. But it's really interesting. If you guys have ever heard of Mark Rippetoe in Starting Strength, and then we had who was it? We had Matt Reynolds on here, and he's the online coach. And so if you guys are interested in that, it looks like it's going to work well for me. And just want to encourage everybody to don't give up. I keep on fighting all the time to try to lose weight and try to get in shape. And I feel better than I felt probably in at least 10, 12 years as far as just strength. I've got so much more strength than I used to have. And it's grueling. I mean, you go in there, you don't want to go in. I'm going to go in and work out tonight. As soon as I get off of here, shut everything down. I'm going to the gym and go work out again. So, but once you get in the habit of it, just you sore all the time, but because you're just all the time increasing. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying being back at the gym. I didn't know if I would like it, and so I haven't really talked a whole about it, except for, I think I talked about like the last show a little bit, but getting there a little bit at a time. And y'all pray that I'll stay healthy, please. And I think that was about it. You got anything else, Doug?
I'm good, man. I got into a coughing fit there for just a second.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Send your feedback to Troy at Gun Guns Podcast or
Doug at GunGunsPodcast.com.
Please tell your friends about us, leave us an iTunes review, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/God and Guns Podcast. Seriously, guys, tell your friends about us. We really appreciate that. That word of mouth is worth more than anything we can do on Facebook, because Facebook's is limiting us, our exposure. So YouTube, all these social media things are limiting our exposure unless you want to pay them a bunch of money to let your friends see, let the people that like you see what you're posting. So if you're hearing this, make sure you share, please. We appreciate it. Subscribe to us and follow us on YouTube. I'm stumbling over my tongue here. And I've got a link in the show notes, which will be in various locations where we post this at. Follow us on Twitter at God and Guns Pod. And you can search for us on Instagram and search for us on MeWe, because we'll be selling some guns over there. I'll be selling some guns over there soon. Website is guidinggunspodcast.com, and it was working the other day. I didn't check it before the show. Some of the links are still broken. I don't know how to get them fixed. So until next time, Doug, have a blessed week.
And keep your guns close, but keep your Bible closer.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. I haven't been looking at the comments, but hey, here he is. Never skip leg day. You know,
Yeah.
I leg day is every day on this exercise because I do deadlifts. Excuse me. I start off with I start off warming up on a treadmill or something, get my heart rate up, get my sweat going, and then after that I go to either I go to squats. Always go squats, and I do 5 sets, 5 reps each, and so I'm doing legs every. I'm doing 3 days a week, and then I'm doing bench press on A days, and then I'm doing standing press on B days. So like every other workout, I'm doing a bench press, or I'm doing a standing press, and then every workout I'm doing deadlifts. So I'm doing heavy deadlifts one a day, and then the off day I'm doing lighter deadlifts, higher reps. So that I there's no non-leg days for me. So, and then I'm not supposed to, but I do some curls and I do some tricep work just because I'm trying to keep my arm strength up. I'm wanting to keep my grip strength, and so I'm doing a little bit extra there. Probably messing something up, but I'm doing that just so I can keep my grip strength up. I notice my shoe gun now, it's rock steady and just so much more steady than I was 3.5 weeks ago. So thanks a lot, Tim. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching.
Y'all have a good night.
Good night, guys.